In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks that I've picked up from nearly a year's worth of calisthenics. These tips are for beginners. They're going to help you along the way in your calisthenics journey and help you maximise your training progress. The first thing that is crucial for when you're starting calisthenics, which I think many people overlook, is that you've got to make sure that your body is conditioned before going on to any other harder exercises. So if you are a complete beginner, do not attempt a planche. You're not going to have near as much strength as you need to, and going into harder exercises straight away is going to make you much more vulnerable for injuries. So I highly recommend mastering the basics first. These include pull-ups, push-ups, dips, handstand holds, L-sit holds and squats. If you master these fundamentals first, you'll be starting off the best way possible. Now in calisthenics, which is a type of training where you only use your body weight when working out, it's so important that you're always trying to progressively overload. This is going to accelerate your progress and prevent you from feeling as if you're plateauing. But progressively overloading in calisthenics is much different compared to bodybuilding. This is because when you're doing bodybuilding, you need to add more and more weight after every session. Whereas in calisthenics, the easiest and most effective way of overloading your muscles is to add more resistance. In simple terms, it's basically just making the exercise harder than before. So with isometrics that are static holds like the front lever, you'll have to spread your weight out in a way that will put the muscles engaged into a harder position to hold. With things that can be done for reps, again, you'll have to somehow make the exercise harder. The lucky thing is with calisthenics is that there's always a way to make the rep harder. So for pull-ups, if you haven't done any before, you're a proper beginner, it's probably best to start off with Australian pull-ups. These are done on a lower bar and your feet are actually touching the ground. This is going to alleviate some of your weight and make it much easier to pull up. If you're finding this pretty easy, you can progress into doing some normal pull-ups. And then when you master pull-ups, you can really start to make the exercise harder by, adding some explosiveness into the movement. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is goals. If you have specific goals, don't be doing any exercises that don't have anything to do with your specific goals. If you want to be fit and have a good physique, that's fine. But if you want to accomplish certain skills, you need to be doing exercises that will directly improve those skills. So if you want to do front lever, for example, don't do ring curls. It has no relation to the skill and won't help you with your specific goals. Then again, doing things like front lever raises will greatly improve your progress and help build a solid foundation for the front lever. So to recap, you need to be complementing your skills with exercises that will directly benefit the skill that you are trying to improve on. Having goals in bodyweight training is very important. This is because if you don't have any, you'll have nothing to work on and you might end up giving up because you feel as though you haven't got anywhere. So whatever it is, pick a goal. It might be multiple and stick to it. These goals could be anything really. You could, want to progress into a straddle planche by the end of the year. Or if you're a beginner, you could want to do 10 strict pull-ups without breaking any form. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is keeping your form strict. Now, you've probably got a friend that, goes to the gym and he says he can do about 20 pull-ups. But in reality, his form is probably terrible. I mean, you see these CrossFitters and the amount of momentum that they put into pull-ups is just mental. I know they're swinging about like maniacs because it's conserving a lot of energy for the actual competition they're in, but for building solid strength, you really need to be making sure that your strict is on point. Using a lot of momentum really isn't going to get you anywhere, and you should avoid it at all costs. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about is mobility. Having a good amount of mobility is essential in calisthenics. This is because doing certain skills, for example like the L-sit, you need to have a decent amount of mobility in hamstrings. If you don't have this, then you're really going to struggle in these types of skills and it's really going to slow down your progress. What I'd recommend is doing some simple but effective stretches before going to bed each night, which will help loosen up your muscles. You could even try some yoga, but doing some simple stretches before you go to bed at night will do the trick. Now, a bonus tip that I'm going to be sharing with you, which is arguably one of the most important tips that I've shared, is that you really need to be watching your diet. This is going to fluctuate widely, because everybody has different goals that they're trying to achieve. But one of the main things that you need to be focusing on is getting at least 1 gram of protein in per pound of body weight. If you're trying to bulk, so gain more muscle mass, you'll need to be eating in a calorie surplus, which is consuming more calories than you're burning off. Whereas if you're trying to lose weight, you're going to have to be in a calorie deficit. Something I would advise against though is that if you're trying to bulk, try not to dirty bulk as much as possible. I know it's quite an appealing way of gaining muscle mass by eating a lot of junk food, but trust me, it really isn't healthy, and in the long run it might lead to health problems. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, it would mean so much to me. I've only got a certain amount of time to do these videos because, you know, schoolwork and actually trying to progress in calisthenics myself. But anyway, if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button and I'll see you next time.